Okay, cool. Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for giving us your Sunday evening. We'll keep this strictly under 1 hour. We don't have too much to talk about. Today is basically about updates, and so we'll be hearing a lot more from the subcommittees. I'll just be giving us just some top line updates from the policy shaper side on what's happening with the project. Okay, so I know that between the last meeting and now, we've had quite a number of new people join us. During the last meeting, the task force, the number of people who signed up was somewhere around 50 something people. Well, now we're close to 110. So there are a lot of people who continue to show interest to join the task force and learn more about what we're doing. Thanks for joining. Just made this couple of slides to give you a bit of and a reminder for all of us as to why we're doing what we're doing and why this is key and this is important for us. I think the first point is that this is one of the ways that we believe that we can secure our future as a state. It's people who have family in River States. This is our heritage. This is our states. So this is one of the ways we believe we can secure our future. And I added 2 quotes here from the Prime Minister of the UAE, someone whom I'm like really crazy about lately because I think that he's very visionary. And I think one of the quotes that he says, and you find this quote on for those who have gone to Dubai, you find this quote on the Dubai Future Museum of the Future. This quote where he says, "The future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it. The future does not wait." Like you are the one who creates the future, basically. So I think that's a really powerful way to think about what we're trying to do with this vision project. Also, we think that this is one of the ways where, as individuals, we can leave a legacy for posterity. There's so many ways to leave a legacy. I think that this is one of the good ways we can all leave something for our children and their own children, and hopefully becomes a stepping stone for future plans and visions. Because just as I noted at our last meeting, the last time our state had a plan was in the 1980s, and I think that's not good enough for a state that's had 50 plus years of abundance in resources and oil and all of the money that we've received, petrol dollars. I think that we could have done a lot more better. I mean, the UAE's transformation has happened within the past 50 years, and people are basically fighting themselves to get their visa. So I basically think that this is one of the ways where we can leave a legacy and challenge ourselves to do better and to imagine our state and imagine our future better. So that's why we're doing this. I mean, the second quote, sorry, I forgot to say it. The second quote, which I really like, again by the Prime Minister, says, "We may not live for 100 years. I mean, who knows? The luckiest people maybe past 90 plus, So if you calculate yourself as maybe you live for 90 years, we probably have like 60, 50 years left in our lives, right? But, the products of our creativity can leave a legacy for a very long time after we're gone. And so if you're very like posterity conscious person, I think that this is quite the kind of project that you like to work on, right? Because it leaves something for the future generations. And most especially because, I mean, this is not a political project, and we've stressed this over and again, even in the last meeting, about how we're not going to be political, we wouldn't toe any political line, etc. But, we can't be oblivious of the fact that there's so much happening politically in our states right now, right? Whether it's state of emergency or the issues between the former governor and the suspended governor, the fact that almost all, I mean, I'm not saying almost all, every agency currently now has been suspended, all boards, all, units and federating units. And so, yeah, this is a time where I think that more than ever before, the state needs to be focused on development. The conversation can usually be very toxic at times like this, but I think with this project, this should be a time when we should remind ourselves, that development is what matters, and the most important stakeholder in a democracy is the people. And so that's why we're making this people-led, citizen-led. You notice that the engagement and the focus groups and the survey and everything is going to be around what the people want for their states. And I think that that's quite key. So each of us, I mean, as individuals, we might have our own political, inclinations and thoughts about what's happening. But I think that whenever we speak um, about the project, we should remind anyone who can hear that it's always about the people. The resources of the states belong to the people, and that if the rivers people don't get benefits from their states, then why does the state exist? So that's basically why I think this project is quite key, especially in this time of political turmoil and crisis. I mean, most people have been changing themselves to cartoon characters lately. So, so if you go to like Chapp-GPT and I couldn't paste all of the images here, but if you go to like Chat and Gemini and all of these like AI platforms, maybe you use Grok as well. You ask them what River State or Port Harcourt would look like in next 25 years. One thing that I saw that was showing across all of them is that they had a lot of skyscrapers. I don't know. I mean, skyscrapers basically most people imagine cityscapes, as skyscrapers. But I picked out this one by Gemini because, like, as opposed to just becoming like in New York, that's like a concrete jungle. The fact that we still need to be able to think of maintaining our flora and fauna, and the fact that sustainability is quite key for us, being a riverine state, and knowing that we still need to think green even as we develop, whether we're growing high or growing wide, whatever it is. We don't need to skyscrapers are not the only way to show that you're progressing. But like whatever it is that we do in the next 25 years, we need to also think about how we can leverage the rivers and the seas and care for marine life and the blue economy, and boost agriculture and think of growing green and stuff like that. So that's why we've picked, I see myself like tilted towards speaking this image by Gemini, and that seems to be like a tentative book cover for now. But yeah, I think if AI can imagine something this really huge, there's been conversation over the past couple of days on AI replacing people and stuff like that. So if AI can think this much, how much more us, who live in the States, have lived here, we're born here, at some point in our lives, for those who are not here currently, and have experienced the world, how much more can we imagine and bring that brilliance to the States? So just a few key updates, and then I'll hand over to the steering committee members to give updates from their committees. So we've continued media campaigning, but going forward, it wouldn't just be me and my big head talking on TV all the time. Going forward, we'll be having a lot more members from the steering committee featuring. And if you as an individual gets the chance to feature on TV or radio for any reason, and you feel like you want to talk about the Rivers 2050 Vision Project, please let us know. I or any member of the steering committee whom you get to meet soon, let us know so that we can like give you tips and stuff. But yeah, this is open. Like, I feel like the more people, I wouldn't be able to talk about this as much as 10, 15 of us, obviously. So the idea is that we want the project to be owned by each and every one of us here. And so let's be open to like driving this to the desired place. But yeah, since the Nigerian food conversation that we had, because of the political crisis, more attention from the media has been on River State. So we tried our best to feature on 2 additional platforms, and that was Business Day Nigeria and TVC News, and tried a way to sneak in the conversation around the Rivers 2050. So as more opportunities come, let's continue to use that. And like I said, the central message again is always about the people. So it's always about development. It's always about the fact that governments exist to make life easy for the people, and the rivers people need to be able to benefit from the resources that belong to river states. So that's an update on media campaigning. So we'll continue to use media throughout the project as much as possible. Whether it's if you have a blog, you want to write an op-ed about it, please do that. If you're going to be on radio, if you want to do a vlog, you want to do a podcast, whatever it is that you want to do, let's find ways we can use to like amplify the project. Just as a reminder, I know the numbers are more than this now. These are old screenshots, but there's the accounts on Facebook and on Twitter. So let's do well to follow and like and whatever, share all of those things that we do to get more people involved, because the more we amplify this message, the higher our chances of getting this vision owned by the Rivers people. Okay, quick updates. We've gotten the domain name we're currently developing the rivers2050.org. This obviously came up because many people have started to ask, where can they go to learn more about the project? And so Policy Shapers has handled the cost of that and already engaged and contracted a developer to work on it. So in a couple of weeks-ish, like towards the next 2 weeks, we should be looking towards like launching that platform. With information. Eventually, we would ask task force members to begin to send us their photos. We'll work with the steering committee members and your committee chairs to work around that. So eventually, we'll have a page where we have all of that signposted. But for now, let's focus on the work and see how we can move the project forward. We've also created a pay stack donation link, which we'll share. But I think one of the things that we noticed, and one of the things that we've sort of like discussed at the Policy Shapers team is that currently the work, our finances as an organization, because we're a really small organization, like 6 people around the organization who have like 2 or 3 other jobs, doing things everywhere. And so most of our finances and auditing is done by short-term consultants. And because, currently we're trying to wrap up our audit process for last year with that particular consultant. So we think it might not be quite sustainable to want to use that same consultant. So if there are any, I know that there are a couple of people who are finance professionals who are in the task force. So if you do feel like you have the time to volunteer, I think we need someone who just like helps us to like support the link, takes recording of like what comes in, what is going out, and also like with the general budgets of what we think we're going to need when the subcommittee for like the launch committee begins to think about what the hosting of the launch event would be like. So we need someone who has like a financial mind on. And it's not something I personally want to be doing, because I want us to be thinking about a lot more of the project and moving the things forward. So if anybody with that skill set is willing, please drop a message in the group, or just reach out to me personally, and let's find a way to move that forward. I mentioned last time that we've been thinking about exploring partnerships with the NESG. That's a very low-hanging fruit, because like even within our committee, within the book committee, we have members of the NESG staff there. So that's eventually going to happen once we move the project forward a bit and had some bit of momentum. We'll then see if we can engage the NESG CEO, who is who's done a lot of work, right, over the past 20 plus years in this development space. So we'll be engaging and see how they can give us some bit of guidance. But we also started thinking about how we can engage the Dubai Future Foundation, who are sort of like the leading, I'll say in the world, really, like leading organization in the world for like futures thinking and foresight specialization and stuff like that. And so through the World Economic Forum platform, I've been able to reach out to the CEO, His Excellency Carl Fan something. And so we're hoping that we'll be able to get him to maybe one of our town hall conversations, especially around implementation, maybe sometime towards the end, get him to come speak. We'll have a recorded conversation as to how, maybe even get him to the launch. I don't know how that's going to be possible. Team launch, Joshua and Co. But yeah, just this is a country that's been able to imagine themselves from being a desert to where they are now. And I think much of it borders on implementation. So I think when we have that implementation conversation, we should have him speak about how they've been able to not just envision things, but also bring them to life, whether it's finding the resources and stuff like that. So that's also something that we're currently working on that third partnership on this particular project. So these are things that are being handled by Policy Shapers, but we need some bit of support on the finances bits. Okay, and the final point is going into April, we'll be like launching the survey, we'll be launching focus group discussions, the book committee, as there, right, saying, so there'll be like a lot of activity. And I understand that like this is a volunteer project, right? So this is not a project that we're being paid for, and this is not your 9-to-5 job. So I wouldn't tell you like leave your 9-to-5 job and come and do this, because we still need you to be able to take care of yourself. But like as much as possible, the steering committee members again are not paid, so they have additional responsibility, not just as people who care about the project, but also have to lead different aspects of this particular project. So let's as much as we share responsibility, let's give them our best. This might need sometimes like an extra 1 hour, extra 30 minutes of your time after work or during the weekend or something. But let's let's try to see how we can set realistic goals within our committees, and let's ensure that when we set these goals, let's like give in our best, because I think that the efforts we give is what would help move this as fast as we want. Even though we've set October as a tentative deadline, I mean, it's okay with us pushing it to December or whenever we want, but the point is that we actually need to work to move it forward. If we want to even move it forward, I say we do it earlier. It depends on us, how much we can support our various subcommittee leads to basically drive this. So yeah, so just to say, let's all bring our A game. If you're not in the subcommittee yet, and you would love to, after the meeting, I'll share links again in the group for those who want to join the various subcommittees. Or if you're thinking of other ways in which you can support the project as well, feel free to also share that or speak with me or any other member of the policy shapers team within the group. So that's just a note of caution as we go into April. Okay, drum rolls. So selected by you, because we gave the committees the responsibility of selecting the steering committee. Selected by you, happy to announce the Rivers 2050 Vision Steering Committee members. As you can see them, you'll be hearing from them shortly. And these are people who will be leading various aspects of the projects when it comes to the focus group, the surveys, the launch, the writing of the book, and everything that has to do with copywriting and stuff like that. So, like I said, they are doing, this is a labor of love. So they're not getting anything extra from all of this. I mean, the reason why we even have leads is because we need someone to basically hold responsible for the various aspects of the projects. But in reality, we are all leads of this particular project. This is something that, especially if you're a Rivers person, this is something that is very close to my heart, and I hope it is close to your own heart as well, especially with everything going on currently in the States. So yes, so these are the people, and let's give them as much support as they need to be able to drive this and move this forward. So yeah, without further ado, I think I will hand over to them now to be able to move us to the next stage of the conversation. So we'll go on to subcommittee updates. I don't know if Mesoma is here yet. Haven't seen her. But over to you, Mesoma, if you're here. Does anyone know if she's here yet? Or should we move to focus group first, and then when Mesoma joins, we can go back to survey committee? Bira, over to you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Loud and clear.
Okay. So I'll just give updates for the focus group committee. Over the past 2 to 3 weeks, we've had about 2 meetings, and we've had several resolutions from those meetings, which has led us to where we are currently and the things we've done currently. Right. So we are over 15 members currently. We are also looking forward to more persons joining the committee because it's going to be like a very large scope of work we are going to do in the next couple of weeks and months all together, right? So, like I said, we've had 2 meetings and several resolutions from those meetings, right? So one of them is uh, looking at our 2 weeks plan. We're supposed to come up with uh, suggestions for like the experts for the thematic areas, which we've already started, which we've kickstarted, right? We also came up with building a criteria for like the selection of the experts. Even I don't know if you can help bring that
Yes.
up. So yeah, so
Yes, let me
we
even
can
share
have
that.
like this. Okay, so okay, thank you. So this is what we have. This is what we drafted for our selection criteria. So we are looking at people who already have expertise in the relevant sector, talking about the 15 different thematic areas. And we are looking at people who have a minimum of 5 to 10 years. I know this may sound a little bit um, too rigid, but to get what we are looking at, I guess we have to like put some of these checkpoints in place. So the idea is we are going to gather a pool of suggestions, meaning we are going to gather as much suggestions as we can from both the members of the focus group committee and members of the task force in general. And then we are going to look at them, filter them through these criteria that we've put in place. As time goes on, we are also reviewing the criteria, seeing if we can add or subtract some more things as we go forward, though, right? So, but this is just like a draft of the criteria we are going to employ for the selection, all right, after the entire pool of suggestions have been put together, right? So, uh, I don't think okay, maybe let me just like read through the criteria basically. So there's expertise in relevant sector, minimum years of experience, which is like 5 to 10 years, academic and professional qualifications, practical experience in policy implementation and development programs, then diversity of perspectives, looking at the fact that what we are building is not something that is going to be just political. It's not something that is going to be centered around just government agencies, but something that will be all inclusive. So, which makes this very, very important diversity of perspectives. So, knowledge of River State's socioeconomic and political context, even though we are also looking at looking at suggestions of people who are not Rivers people, people who are not exactly very familiar with River State. We also think that it's going to be like a very, very much added advantage to have people who understand properly how River State functions, talking about the socioeconomic landscape and political context as this may be, as the case may be, right? So, can I go forward? Okay, thank you. So, also looking at people who have demonstrated like really, really brilliant thought leadership over the years, looking at people who are available, right? Because after all is said and done, we need people who will be willing to participate in the discussions with us. We're looking at people who have influence around very key sectors in River State as well. And we're looking at people who have ultimate like commitment to objectivity, right? So that's for like our draft for um, selection of the experts, basically. Um, okay, help me take me back to my slide. Right. So basically, that's for the criteria of the expert selection. Like I said, we are looking to pull together like lots and lots of suggestions for the 15 different thematic areas. So the moment we are done with gathering this selection, which we are looking at in the next
I'm not
one
this
week.
part committee. I'm stay meeting. I'm gonna say
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So once we are done with that, like I said, screen it through the lens of our criteria and then come up with 5 to 6 persons per thematic area, right? So I'm talking about identifying the experts for the 15 thematic areas now. So pretty much the most challenging part of our journey so far has been getting and gathering these suggestions, right? As simple as they sound, we've not really had so much suggestions for the different thematic areas. There are some thematic areas that we've had over 5, 6 to 7 suggestions, but there are also some thematic areas that we've had none, and some thematic areas that we've just had one or two, right? So I'm putting it here. Okay, okay, thank you, Ben. So you can see some of the thematic areas like culture and tourism has no one yet. Um, okay, just pick me back up here. Thank you. So we can see that education and academia has no suggestion yet. Under healthcare, we have only one. Under culture and tourism, we have no suggestion yet. For technology, we have about three suggestions already. Food security, we have one. Human security and safety, we have no suggestion. For media, sports, and entertainment, this is where we have the highest number of suggestions currently, which is 5%. Under housing and urban planning, we have just one. Um, Environment and sanitation, none. Transportation, we have one. Justice and institutions, we have none. Youth development, we have just one. Energy, we have two. Business and investment, we have two. Blue economy, we have just one. So this is, like I said, this is where we have like a lot of challenges currently. So we'll be pleading and asking that every member of the task force, every person on this call also joins us in this particular um, plan. We would need as much suggestions as we can get for the different thematic areas. We can get as much as 10, as much as we can get basically. Then we'll do our filterings and get like the particular people that we will reach out to, and as they become available, we begin our discussions basically. Right. So I believe that after this meeting, we'll get more suggestions. You can reach out to Ebenezer or any member of the steering committee or myself as well, to pass across the suggestions. I think we can also share the Google Drive or like that sheet so that people can just click and do updates for us as well. Please, it's important to note that we don't need to actually know how to get to them. um, you just need to know that this person is an expert in this particular area. You just need to know that this person can handle this sort of discussion. We'll take it from you. Just give us the names. If the person suits, we'll take it up from you as well, right? And also, as time goes by, we would also need the support of like some persons in the task force who have like very good relationships with some of our proposed thematic experts. So as to like gather, help us like build the relationship and make our meetings work basically. Right. So going forward to our plans for April, in April, we plan to conclude everything about the selection of the experts for the 15 thematic areas. Um, I think even you help me just project the 15 thematic areas for everybody to see, just to um, put that out. And so everyone can just have an idea. I know we've shared it before, but just for reminders, basically. So, like I was saying, our plans for April, we plan to conclude this entire selection process and begin um, sending out letters, sending out emails to our selected people, the people who we've selected, reaching out to them and scheduling our calendar for the discussions, the different discussions for the different thematic areas, basically. Okay, thank you. Then. So these are the 15 thematic areas we are looking at. We can just take a shot of it, and I guess it's also on the group chat as well. So we can look at it, look at where we can have suggestions, and please, you can drop it on the group chat as well. We'll take it from there as well, right? So I think this is where I end my session. Thank you, Ibrahim.
Thank you so much, Bira. Amazing work by your committee. Well done for building the criteria. And this is also an open call to all of us to be able to make our input. I'll add this to the link that I'll share after this call. The link to the thematic experts, so that we can begin to like suggest them. Because once we get finished suggesting them and we go through the criteria that the committee has built, then we can start reaching out to them and then scheduling those conversations so that latest by May we start, maybe every Saturday in May we start having those conversations, those focus group conversations. Any questions? Femi, it feels like you raise your hand. Okay, go on, Femi.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, from my own side here. So I just want to quickly add that, or suggest that why can't we just go directly to probably like the Council for Chiefs and King? I don't know what it's called in River State, but I think those chiefs and kings will be able to help us a lot in terms of the culture and tourism and all of that. If actually we do not want to go more of tourism, um, just kind of thinking through my head who we can actually talk to currently in River State about culture and tourism that is not really like into politics, whatever. So I think maybe that council will be able to also help a lot. I mean, they can also even help us in collecting data and all of that. So it's just a suggestion. I don't know if that really make any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Bira, do you want to respond to that? It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, just like you said, it makes a whole lot of sense, and I think it's a very good feedback. This is well noted, and I'll pass it back to my committee and see how we take it off from there. Thank you so much, Femi.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Femi, for that suggestion. If there are no other comments, I mean, if you have a comment that comes up within the week or something, feel free to drop it in the WhatsApp group. That's why we have the group and we're all in it together. Feel free to share that, and then we can move things forward on the conversation. I think we can move on to the next now. I still can't see Mesoma. I don't know. Is Mesoma here? Just to be sure it's not a connection or anything. Okay. I still can't see her on the chat. Maybe she's having issues joining the conversation. So let me move on to the next group, the book committee, another committee that I know had put in quite a bit of work over the past couple of weeks. Do you want to, Dr. Ma, do you want to take over?
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can
We
hear.
can hear you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, Femi. Okay, so maybe even you can help to pull up our drive or any information that would help. But I'm just going to be really quick because I think that we are running out of time. So with the book committee, as Eben had mentioned, we've been pretty much up our sleeves. And we started with having like running through what is currently existing or what has been done. And thank you, Eben, for all the work in putting together an outline. So that sort of helped us to, structure things. In case everyone hasn't gotten maybe a view of what the book outline is, or just generally, the book is, I guess, maybe the backbone of all this work that's we're each putting in from um our different committees. And the idea is that we need to have something that would serve as a blueprint to guide, the entire plan and, everything that concerns the development of the state. So it's currently that book has been divided into, or has been structured into three parts. The first part is the very foundational stage where we want to just understand why we're doing what we're doing. Why is it important that we put out a book, or why is it important that we even consider putting together a development plan for the next 25 years? And then also talks about it just has several components. As you know, what a book or the structure of a book, there is this is going to start with a dedication and all of those preliminary pages that is really important. And I mean, people need to see who are the stakeholders that have been involved in, this entire plan. And then now moving forward into also the part one, which obviously the foundation will give a bit of an introduction into the book, and then start to, talk about the current states of affairs in River State, where we're coming from, all the way from, when the state was created. What are some of the key things? What's really significant, and what's unique about River State? What is our cultural heritage? Every bits and pieces of information that I guess would be exciting to anybody who cares to read. So all of those would form the part one. Would also be delving into perhaps what have been what has been the situation with regards to different areas, the economy, the environment, governance in general, just to give people an idea. And then that would also lead to the part two, which would pretty much we now be talking about this vision of 2050. What is it about? Why did we even care to consider, writing a development plan or developing a plan that the states can run with across different governments, just in between. And so all of that, we would set the stage for the actual plan, and this would heavily be dependent on data. So as much as we are going to collect, secondary data off the internet or any other source, we'd also be leaning on the support of the different committees or subcommittees, just to see, hey, are there real-time data that we can also get, maybe from the focus groups or the focus group discussions or anything like that. And we'll put all of those together into creating this vision for 2050, the actual development. And it will just be around, setting goals, setting strategies, frameworks, all of these things, just putting it together, bringing all the thoughts, leveraging on what have other people done, not just in the country, but are there case studies that we can lean on from other countries as well? What are things that have worked for them, and how can we align it to what the state needs? Would also be getting different voices from all parts, whether civil service, whether the youth, whether diaspora. We'll just be gathering all of this information from key parts or key people or key stakeholders, as I'd like to call them, and then using that to create now this vision that we want for River State. And then all of that will now, move to the final part, which is the part three, that is about execution. All of the things that we've said, all the frameworks and whatnot. How do we put together all the stakeholders to ensure that we're actually doing what we plan to do, or everything around implementation, pretty much. We'll consider putting together a roadmap that will guide us, more like having milestones for achievable milestones for each of the I mean, we sort of maybe we're considering to narrow it down to years. So we'd have perhaps midterm goals or midterm milestones, ambitions, anything like that, and then we would give it a tag and see how we can just narrow down that vision into different parts or different phases, and then set key milestones or key goals to be achieved in those phases. And yeah, so we just mobilize all the stakeholders that need to be engaged and that need to help us in doing the actual implementation. And then another key part of that is, how do we monitor and how do we know that everything that we had set in those different phases are actually working, people are following through it, and yada yada. So it's pretty much just tracking progress in that sense. So we're trying to build an actual framework, leaning on what has worked, in different geographies, and also seeing how we can align that to, help us to track this development plan in phases. And we're going to wrap the book up with setting a final message or putting together a final message, what we'd like to call our legacy. And this is just to, like Eben said, for posterity, for, our future generation to say, hey, what is that key message that we want people to lean on? We want people to, hold on to. So we're going to figure out how to put those things together, those words together. We're not sure where we're going to get them from, but yes, we'll just put all the voices together into now one letter to summarize this amazing book and development that we're putting together. And then yeah, that's pretty much what's that's like the key parts. Those are the key parts of the book, and I think that's another thing that we've been involved in, and we are a 15-member team. So we literally just shared thematic areas, which again, 15, which pretty much works for our number. And then we asked everyone to gather as much data as they can from different sources so that we could also leverage on them as we continue to write the book moving forward. So for April, we would just continue on that path of collating, the data that we need, and also synergizing with other committees as well to see what we can gather from them that would inform us as we are writing. But most importantly is to put people in subgroups so that it makes the writing easier, and then we can have people focus on part 1, part 2, part 3 of the book, and start to put together what it is that we need, and how we would eventually get all the information as well. But yes, that's pretty much all we have for April, and that's what we've been up to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Udokama, and thanks to the committee. I don't know if I have your permission to just share the tab that shows what we had before as the outline with all of the markings and comments. Quite a bit had gone into that, and that's how we eventually came up with this final version. So well done. This is a cleaned up version. Still tentative. Anyone who has input, please feel free to share that input now, because we're finalizing this template, because this will be the sort of like the foundation for which all of this work will feed into. So please let's do what to do that. So I'm going to share a view only version rather, for people when I'm sending a summary of this meeting, so that you can quickly just have a look at it and let us know if there's anything else that we're missing or something that we need to add to it. Okay, thank you. Move on to the next. So we have about 7 minutes each to go. So I would implore just Joshua and Wisdom to see how. I know Joshua is driving, so I'm a bit skeptical about calling him. So I'm not sure. Have you parked? Have you gotten to your destination, Joshua? There's still quite some bit of alignment that's going to happen between the launch committee and our partnerships lead, Wisdom. Because there are many groups and organize. I mean, we had a conversation earlier about one of the things that we saw from the Rivers Youth Association, and whether we like it or not, we definitely need. And if we want this to be our vision for the future, we definitely need to engage every group as much as possible to be able to drive this, and that's the responsibility that is resting on the shoulders of Joshua and Wisdom. So, I don't know, Wisdom. Do you want to speak? I don't know if Joshua is able to speak because he posted that he was driving earlier. Do you want to come up and just share a bit of the ideas and some of the thoughts that you've been tinkering on?
Of course, Eben. Yeah. As we go towards the launch, I mean, there are a few people we need to work with, which, I mean, the first meeting you have highlighted on, whether we, either we will look at it, we will still need government to be part of it, and other people that will be involved in it, especially the RSSDA, ED. I've tried to reach the former one, so maybe that can help us reach whoever is still in charge. You can see the agency is still up and running. I found out it's still up and running, but not as not as prominent as he used to be. So I'm still trying to get a meeting with him. That's Mr. Lawrence Larry Peppo, to see how we can have a conversation on towards the work we're doing. So there'll be more partnership that will come up. I will flesh that out, of course, with Joshua and Eben, where we can finally have a conversation and be able to look at all the areas of people that needs to get involved. So I think that's the only update I have now.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Wisdom. Thanks for keeping it short and sharp. So by our next meeting, we should have a more robust partnership strategy once Wisdom, Joshua, and I are able to meet together and just like put things together so that we make sure every group is engaged on this. Apologies on Miss Summer because I'm not sure. I've tried to reach. I hope she's okay because I sent her a message and we had spoken earlier on her on what she was going to present. I know that the survey committee had also like commenced work, just like every other committee, and efforts are being made to see how we launch the survey in this month, in April rather. I'm saying this month as if we're already in April. In April, and I know that what they were tinkering on basically was in the WhatsApp group throughout last week and this weekend had mostly been on how we can hit that 70K target. So yeah, so I think if you have any ideas or thoughts, I mean, they're thinking on like what are the physical platforms we could use, physical avenues. Wisdom in the past had mentioned that we might need to start thinking about having like local government representatives and stuff like that. So these are some of the ideas that they're thinking on. So if you have any ideas or thoughts, feel free to share in the group. I'll get Mr. Matt to do maybe like a voice note or something to update us in the WhatsApp group of what has come up from our own committee since she's not able to join. But yeah, that's what's happening. So we're finalizing the survey question. Yeah, we had to shorten it a bit as well because it was quite long, so that we don't. The first version that I had was quite long, so that we also get people to be able to finish it. But again, make sure that we also capture every like demographic data and their wishes and dreams and stuff like that, keeping it as quantitative as possible. Okay, so 2 minutes to go. We've been able to keep our promise to keeping it under 1 hour. Thanks everyone for your time. Like I said, April, the work begins. I'll send a summary email following this call with a link to the recording for those who would like to check it back again. But yeah, work begins. We're launching our survey. We're finalizing the experts for the focus group discussions, sending out letters and beginning the conversations in May. The book writing has already begun. You can see the outline is ready. Secondary data collection is already on. Partnership conversations have also begun as well. So well done to every subcommittee and to everyone who's been driving this and pushing this. And let's keep in touch throughout the month. Information will be shared on when we'll have our April meeting. Thanks everyone. Have a great week ahead and a great April.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.